guys, I'm here to tell you about a great new premium offering we have from our bets guy, Keg. He has been crushing it so much with his live betting streams that we decided to spin off his Keg Cats into a premium feature.
The first 5 shows, we were profitable all 5 shows. The show was up like 15 units about, and, you know, I crush.
Subscribe today for just $10 a week and gain access to all of Keg's live betting streams covering tons of sports, including the NFL playoffs, MMA betting every week, PGA, March Madness, the NBA, and NASCAR. Last season, Keg and the crew crushed in NASCAR with cashes in over 30 races for well over 130 units of live profit.
Put it on the board for your boy Keg to get Blaney home at 14-1. Put it on the board for your guy Keg to get that Larson top 5 plus 105 home. Let's go!
Learn how to live bet and tail Keg and his crew with this amazing subscription offering. Also included is access into an exclusive Discord channel reserved for Keg's subscribers. Last reminder that it's only $10 a week, so get on board today with Keg and keep running pure.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Friday night MMA show, joined by Keg. DC was supposed to be your hosting, but most of you guys probably know DC's internet is still in Mexico or Cabo, wherever he was. It's still with him there, so DC is going to get that figured out. He's not going to be here with us today, and I'm struggling over here too. Somehow my adapter is not picking up my camera, my mic, my Ethernet. I don't know what's going on, so hopefully my internet holds up, my camera, my mic. Hopefully everything's good over here. Keg, you're the only one that is normal right now. You're here. You're ready to give some winners. Excited to have you. You're going to be on these shows every pay-per-view like we do. We usually do it Saturday. We're doing it Friday tonight because I'll be gone in the morning. I'll be at the event. But you're going to be here every single week giving some winners. Happy to have you and your knowledge. Tell the people what's going on.
What's going on, my friend? Always excited to talk MMA. A little nervous because I think I like more dogs than the industry does this week, but you know, what can you do? The numbers are the numbers. They always have to guide you. So all in all, looking forward to this weekend with tomorrow's card, then the Super Bowl. Jealous that you're going to be actually at the event, but excited to be here.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fun one. I mean, this weekend, MMA crazy card. You still have the golf showdown stuff going on. NASCAR is coming up soon. Super Bowl Sunday. Give the people, tell the people a little bit about your Keg Live show because you guys absolutely print over there. NASCAR, you and Coop absolutely crush. You do MMA. I'm not sure if you'll be live tomorrow. I assume you will be. You do NFL. Talk to the people about what you give on the Keg Live show and how they can find it.
Yeah, I'll be live Saturday and Sunday. The live show, basically 20 to 25 hours of live content every week where we basically live sweat and we place in-game wagers. And, you know, we've been doing it for 4+ years and the track record's there. We're just profitable at doing it. So we got out of the gate hot. 8 out of the first 9 shows we made money. Took it on the chin last weekend. But it's basically $10 a week, an add-on to the other packages for anybody that wants it. And we're profitable. It's worth it.
I'm on mute. I'm all flustered. I pulled my phone up so I can have the YouTube chat to my right of my phone. I don't want to pull up too many tabs on my computer. I'm a mess right now, but it is most definitely profitable. You absolutely crush it. The Run Pure Bet side, we have a promo going on Run Pure Sports right now, SB56. Gets you 56% off your first month. And you can use it with the bet side, which absolutely crushes it. Definitely worth the deal. You can use it with Saber Sim, with the projections for MMA. Tomorrow, you can build 150 lineups, 20 lineups, NBA, pretty much every sport they have projections for. And you can build multiple lineups. You can see where the industry is kind of at. SB56 gets you 56% off Saber Sim and the bet side. Definitely a good deal to check out. Steve Boynton, I see you in chat. You did not go too long, but Steve Boynton did have a college basketball show before us on YouTube. So make sure you do go check that out. Steve absolutely crushes basketball. And I don't follow college basketball too much because so much NBA, so much is going on. But I do get into the college basketball streets come March Madness time, come the Big Ten tournament, the conference tournaments and stuff. So it's about that time I'll be digging in to the college basketball streets. Steve Boynton crushes it. Our boy Dunkel crushes it on the bet side. Big T will be talking winners. So go give Steve a shout. Go look at his video he just did for tomorrow's slate. Appreciate you guys all hanging out with us. We got Snyder, Glock. Yeah, poor DC is right. He'll get it figured out one of these days. But hey, we got 14 fights on this card. It's supposed to be 15. Alex Perez and Matt Schnell. I feel like that fight's been booked so many times, and they just can't figure it out. So I assume that those was probably never figured out and never fight, similar to the Habib Ferguson stuff. But hey, 14 fights. Hopefully we keep them all. Really, really good card top to bottom. Last time on this pay-per-view show, it was a Cyril Gane card in Francis. And we talked about, Figueiredo Moreno, Francis, Cyril Gane. Those two fights were amazing. But man, the prelims, there was a lot of fights that just weren't interesting. That's not the case for this pay-per-view card. Top to bottom, this is absolutely loaded, I think. So let's dive right into it. The first fight of the night. I know the bouts got mixed up a little bit. I know that Alexander Hernandez fight is now on the main card, was on the prelim. So some stuff got shuffled around, but going to go in the order of the playbook that is up on the site right now. First fight of the day, Jeremiah Wells, Blood Diamond, Mike Mattia. I don't exactly know how to pronounce it, but he refers to himself as Blood Diamond. So I'm going to refer to him as Blood Diamond. Jeremiah Wells comes in as a favorite, minus 225, Blood Diamond plus 185, massive minus 500 to end inside the distance. I'll go to you, Keg. Blood Diamond, obviously, Adesanya's boy, doesn't have too much MMA experience, but he's got the kickboxing experience. Is this one of the dogs that you're talking about right off the get-go?
Yeah, so we have a few city kickboxing guys on this card because Izzy's in the main event. Obviously, Blood Diamond's a city guy. He's actually a really solid striker that throws a ton of volume. Should he be in the UFC after 3 pro MMA fights?
If it wasn't for Adesanya, probably he definitely wouldn't be.
Probably not, but he has a wealth of experience. This is not a normal 3-0 guy. The kid's limbs are an issue. His striking's legit, especially in the pocket. He is 52-14 as a kickboxer over there, and that region for kickboxing is strong and difficult. So he won the King of the Ring in New Zealand twice in 2014 and 2020. And he's been on my radar since about July 2020. If he rounds out his overall MMA game, he has the potential to go far. He's green, but I think he's incredibly dangerous. His opponent, Jeremiah Wells, impressive in his UFC debut. The guy takes the fight on short notice, then goes out. He finishes Worley Alves, who's a solid fighter in the UFC. The problem I have with Wells is he has power, but his striking technique is pretty bad. He throws pretty wild hooks sometimes. Sometimes they land, sometimes they don't. He had his eyes closed throwing punches at Alves at times, and that's never good. But that will work for but what will work for him, in this fight is using that ground game, which is really strong. Great top control, solid takedowns. To be fair to Wells, his BJJ isn't bad. Trains at Henzo Gracie in Philly with Brady and that team. So, he can end this on the ground if he decides to just chain takedown attempts. At the end of the day, though, I really want to take the shot on this dog because of how dangerous this kid can be. But it's very hard to do when we haven't seen him multiple times against somebody that can take you down and keep you down. But still, I'm going to lean Blood Diamond here with the dog. Might even throw something on him if the line continues to climb.
First dog of the night. Yeah, I think everything you said, I pretty much agree with. I mean, Blood Diamond striking, he's only 3-0 in MMA, but yeah, his wealth of kickboxing experience. We're going to get to another fight. Carlos Alhberg, same type of guy. He made his UFC. He's had one fight in the UFC so far, but another guy, very little MMA experience, a lot of kickboxing experience. And yeah, I mean, Blood Diamond can strike on the feet. I think it's going to be competitive. I'm high on Jeremiah Wells. I thought his debut was really impressive. I mean, you just don't go out there and finish Alves like that on short notice. Paul Felder, who's trained with him multiple times, he was hyping him up the whole time during the commentary. I mean, Wells, he's short, but man, is he ripped. And he is very, very explosive with his techniques. His striking isn't the most technical. Blood Diamond striking, I think, is definitely going to be a lot more technical. His kicks, he mixes up well with his kickbox experiments. He can kick off the back foot too. So when it's on the feet, Blood Diamond is very, very live. But like you said, I mean, 3-0 in MMA, like you have to think his takedown defense is very suspect. And when he's on the mat, I mean, they're showing that there's levels to this in MMA. And 3 MMA fights, it's pretty tough. Like, it's really hard to imagine that he's had the training, he's had the same experience as a Jeremiah Wells. But like you said, he's in the camp with Sean Brady and stuff. So I think Wells is going to come in with a smart game plan. I think he'll get the takedowns, and I do think he'll have a lot of success controlling it on the mat. And I think personally, I think he eventually does find the finish in this fight. Not sure if it's round 1, not sure if it's round 2, but I do think he gets it to the mat. And when he does, I just think it's a whole nother world. On the feet, for sure. I mean, if Blood Diamond stuffs a couple takedowns, you might want to live bet Blood Diamond because the odds are probably going to be good plus money. And if this is a 15-minute fight on the feet or until someone falls, this line is definitely off. It'd be more of a pick 'em if anything, or Blood Diamond might even be a favorite. So yeah, go ahead.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think that the safer play and more likely outcome is Wells here for sure. But you know, I mean, at the odds, like, do I want to lay 240 on Wells? Not really. I agree. I think if he does get him down, he's capable of finishing him for sure. But yeah, you know, lean to the dog.
No, 100%. And like, I'm more talking DFS perspective. You're more on the betting perspective. So yeah, I mean, plus like the plus money, plus 185, you can even get a little better at some spots. It looks like, I mean, that's a lot of juice. And there's a lot of unknowns with Blood Diamond. The kid can strike for sure. And what if he comes out little Terrence McKinney action and just starches Jeremiah Wells before he can even secure the takedowns, like McKinney kind of did it for Volus. So yeah, you never know. I'm leaning Jeremiah Wells. I'm high on this guy. Totally get where you're coming from with the plus money, though, with Blood Diamond. Very fun fight to kick off the card. This is not one you're going to want to miss. I think it's going to be a lot of action. And for DFS, yeah, I mean, 7,300 for Blood Diamond, 7,100 Blood Diamond, 9,100 Jeremiah Wells. We're going to have to find dogs on this card. I think Blood Diamond has one of the most upside as a dog on this card. So I think it makes a lot of sense for sure. I thought I was frozen for a sec, but I'm good. So Blood Diamond 7,100. Don't mind as a dog play. I'll have some in MME for sure, but my lean is Jeremiah Wells, and I think he does finish inside the distance. So let's get into the next fight. Another pretty good one. Sergey Morozov, Douglas Silva de Andrade. We got Morozov minus 210, de Andrade plus 175. This fight is plus 120 to end inside the distance. I think this is a really fun fight. I really do. I'll go to you, Keg. Kind of a clash of styles. Morozov wants to get it to the mat. De Andrade, the most ripped 36-year-old you'll probably ever see. Finished 20 of his 27 pro wins by knockout. What are you seeing in this fight?
Yeah, Kazakhstan had a good day last weekend with Rojo.
Did they ever?
When he got the job done, looked incredible. And now it's Sergey Morozov's shot to get it done. I watch almost all the M1 global fights, and Morozov looked great there, man. He's a former M1 bantamweight champion, and he's a problem. His striking's average, I think, but he really only uses you to get inside the clinch so he can work the takedown. And if he gets you down, which he usually does, he uses that elite level wrestling to work the ground and pound and those submission attempts. So he dropped the M1 global fight to Mazar Evloev before he came to the UFC, which is nothing to be ashamed of. Then he reeled off 5 consecutive wins. He got the call to the UFC. Of course, they throw him in there with Umar Nurmagomedov right from the door, and he got choked out. But he came back strong against Taha and got the win, and here we are. Andrade, exciting fighter. And his fights are usually volatile and fun to watch. And he's fought tougher competition, Andrade, for sure. And he's lost to the guys you would expect him to lose to. But he's extremely dangerous offensively. and he could hurt Morozov. But my issue with Andrade is how bad he is defensively. It's almost like he doesn't even try to avoid getting hit. But he does have a 68% takedown defense, which is better than I thought. The problem is Morozov has attempted as many as 18 takedowns in a fight. He just chains them. So if that's the case, at 68%, probably still getting 5 to 6 takedowns in this fight. And that's good enough for me, man. I think you can either throw Morozov in like a 2-fighter parlay at minus 210 to get plus money with another guy that you like, or you take Morozov by decision at plus 110, because I feel like he's probably going to grind out a decision. That's the way I would approach it. That's what I got.
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you said. I mean, a lot of it is in the playbook. You talked about Morozov, he fought good competition before the UFC. I mean, losing to Masvidal Evlov, I mean, there's no shame in that for sure. And then, yeah, I mean, the UFC just feeding him to the wolves to take on Umar as his UFC debut. There's no shame in losing that one. I think this guy is legit for sure. I mean, his striking is way more impressive than I thought it would be for someone with the wrestling and takedown credentials as he has. He has a good chin, which he showed, which I think is very important in this fight. And yeah, like you mentioned, Andrade's takedown defense at 67%. He hasn't fought a wrestler or someone that's going to look to chain takedowns like Morozov's about to do to him. So I think Morozov early and often gets the takedowns. If Andrade gets his way up, I think Morozov is going to stay on the back and rinse and repeat. So for DFS, looking at it, 9,000 for Morozov. This fight is supposed to go to decision, slightly plus 120. I expect that kind of to keep his ownership down. The top tier is so loaded this week. We're going to get to a lot of these fighters, but man, a lot of these fights are supposed to finish the upper tier. There's a lot of big favorites, and some fighters are even expected minus money favorite to finish inside the distance. Not everybody can be popular in the upper tier, and I think Morozov might be one guy that's a little overlooked. And man, I mean, he secured 6 takedowns last fight against Taha. He had 8 minutes of control time, and he scored 105 DK points. You'll always take 105 DK points, and if he's going to be a lot lower owned than the rest of the top tier, I definitely have interest in Morozov. As far as Andrade, he's always live with his power, like you said, but I don't think he finds the shot in this one. It's MMA. You can always find the shot. I think Morozov has a solid chin. I think he stays technical, good striking defense, and I just think he makes it a dirty fight, grabs him, gets it to the ground, and just rinse and repeats that way. So we're going to, like, some of these guys, Kyler Phillips, his odds and stuff, some guys minus 400 plus, feels like a little steal to get Morozov at minus 210. So I do agree that you can use them as a parlay piece too. Definitely like Morozov here. 2 for 2, Keg and I like Morozov in this one. I do think I do lean decision with you. The one thing would be is if Morozov just keeps chaining the takedowns, beating them up, and just wears an Andrade gas tank. He is 36 years old. He's very muscular for the division. Maybe his cardio just gives out. And we know that why I like him so much, Morozov's cardio isn't going to give out. He can do this for 15 minutes. So maybe a late finish, sprinkle round 3, but I do think the decision is more likely in this fight. So that's it for that one. Morozov, very good play. I think he gets a little overlooked. Andrade, don't like him as much. Keg and I, 2 for 2 in that one. Let's get into the next fight. This fight should be a lot of fun. AJ Dobson making his UFC debut, taking on Robert Whittaker's boy, Jacob Malcoon. Minus 115 Dobson, minus 105 Malcoon. This fight's minus 200 to end inside the distance. Keg, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this Dobson fight's an interesting one. I feel like Dobson either catches Malcoon early, like in the first round, and ends him, or Malcoon is gonna get his takedowns off that single leg high crotch against the cage like he usually does, so he can wrestle you to death. Now, Malcoon's not the best striker, but he sold me on his style in that last fight against ARA. I think that in a lot of ways, AJ Dobson is a greener version of Abdul Razak Al-Hassan, right? And if Malcoon was able to avoid the kill shot and chain takedowns against Al-Hassan, he should have the opportunity to do the same thing against Dobson. Now, the problem is I have a few friends out in Vegas. When this line opened out there, it was like minus 200. But the first time that I saw the line on DK and on FanDuel, Dobson was around like minus 120. Now, I don't think that he opened that big of a favorite on the legal gambling sites. And now the line's basically a pick 'em, which doesn't look that bad if the first time you saw the line was on a legal website.
Yeah, he
But
opened
no,
minus 200 in January 11th, I see.
okay, now, so, but knowing what people were able to get out there in the desert, that makes me want to stay from betting this fight. But the pick is Malcoon for me. He just beat somebody who I think similar to Dobson with more experience. So we know he's capable of winning a fight like this. So I'll lean him here at minus 105, not betting it only because he opened up at plus 170.
Yeah, makes sense for sure. It's a really tough fight. It's a clash of styles. I mean, if it's on the feet, it's Dobson all day, and it's going to be Malcoon's in a lot of trouble as long as this fight's on the feet. There's no doubt about that. However, Malcoon he was in a lot of trouble last fight anytime it was going to be on the feet. And Al Hassan, I mean, he got taken down 11 times. There was a ton of control time in that fight, over 11 minutes of control time. My pick's Dobson, and why is so I think he's better than Al Hassan. I got Al Hassan wrong so much in the UFC. This guy, I mean, he might have cost me.
I was high on him.
I was so high on him. He might have cost me more money than anybody in the UFC. It's going to tilt me, for a long time. I'm glad he's finally out. But yeah, I mean, I think Dobson's better. Very, very powerful as Dobson. Al Hassan, very, very powerful as well. I think he's going to march forward. Dobson will. And I agree with you. Like the first round, I have Dobson by first round knockout. I think that is his best path to victory, because this fight gets out of the first round. I think that's Malcoon taking over late in that first round, surviving early and having success with the takedowns. And if he has success at the end of the first round or sometime in the first round with his takedowns, that's not going to stop in rounds 2 and round 3. Dobson's the most dangerous, most explosive, most power in round 1. I think he catches Malcoon. I don't think Malcoon has a very good chin. I wasn't high on Malcoon at all coming into the UFC. He proved me wrong last fight as a big underdog for sure. I'm going to I told myself that's how Al Hassan being a bum and no cage, no IQ, stuff like that. Phil Hawes starts this guy in 18 seconds. And I think Dobson has a very, very similar path with his power, but I'm with you. I have both guys as GPP tag on the playbook. I think this is a very good fight to target. 8,200 for Dobson, 8,000 for Malcoon. This fight's minus 200 to end inside the distance. So if Malcoon gets the takedowns and he gets the win, I think he'll put up a really good score for 8,000. And Dobson, if he gets the win, I think it's going to be first round knockout. Personally, that's my prediction. He's going to put up a big boy too. So it's a very, very good fight to target. Clash of styles, Dobson on the feet, Malcoon on the mat. And it'll be interesting for sure. I think we'll know how this fight's going to play out in the first 2 minutes, maybe even less than that. So yeah, it's a good fight for sure. Minus 115, minus 105. If you have a strong lean, you can bet it. My lean is Dobson. I wouldn't bet the money line. I would probably take first round KO if I am going to bet Dobson too. Get as much plus money as you can on it, but definitely a fun fight. AJ Dobson, Jacob Malcoon, a fight you're going to want to target in DFS in the mid tier. Let's get on to the next fight. Carlos Alhberg, another one of Adesanya's guys, taking on Fabio Charon. Minus 265, Alhberg, 215 on the way back for Charon. Minus 400 to end inside the distance. The books do not think this one sees the scorecards, and I'd have to agree for sure. Alhberg's debut, if you guys haven't seen, anyone watching this haven't seen Alhberg's debut against Kennedy Chukwu, you guys should go watch that fight because it was a lot of fun for as long as it lasted. Man, Alhberg just threw the kitchen sink at the man in the first round, thought he was going to stop him, and Kennedy's one of his best attributes is his chin, is his durability, and he just made Alhberg punch his way out. No cardio really in the second round. That's kind of how he won it. But I was impressed with Alhberg's combinations. I mean, a lot of guys in that division are going to be put to sleep if Alhberg hits them with those combinations. So taking on Fabio Charon, Charon definitely does not have the same chin as Kennedy does. What are you seeing in this one?
Yeah, it feels like Alhberg's fight to lose. We were talking about city kickboxing guys on the card. He's one of them. Um, but I think that he actually deserves to be there because he's a UFC level talent for sure, even though he doesn't have many fights under his belt. And I think the loss to Kennedy Nishchukwu, which we were talking about last time out, I think that's going to help Alhberg learn how to deal with huge power punchers like himself. But let's be honest. I mean, Alhberg almost ended that fight in the first minute, but Herb Dean was the ref, and you know how that goes. Herb's going to kill somebody. So, I mean, what impressed me, what stood out to me with Alhberg was 150 significant strikes in the first 10 minutes. That doesn't happen that often at 205. So, he's green but talented. On the flip side, Fabio Charon has looked lost in the octagon to me. When you get manhandled the way Menafield destroyed him to get choked out, then the very next fight, you get dropped in the first round against Will Knight. It tells me that the guy's got a lot more stuff to work on in multiple facets before he's a real UFC level talent. Now, from a betting perspective, this line has moved a ton since open. Yeah. So, it opened in 145. It's hard to take Alhberg right now at this price. But, if you have to bet the fight, my advice would be to throw him in a 2-fight parlay, although you're still losing value, or shoot your shot and take him by knockout. But for me, there's just too much value lost. So I'm going to pass. But if you feel like you got to bet it, that's the way I would go.
So what do you think Charon's best path to victory is? Because if you look at his record, it's really weird. He has 7 wins. 5 of his 7 wins are by submission. But he's not going for takedowns. Like he's trying to strike with these guys. Yeah, when he gets the guys hurt, he finds these submissions. It's not in the UFC. He's 0-2 in the UFC. Like what is Charon's best path to victory? Because that's what he can throw bombs, like he can connect. But man, do you want to stand up and bang with Alhberg? What is your thoughts on that?
I would think it would be the ground because I think he's going to be severely outclassed in technique on the feet. So I think the longer he's standing in this fight, he's losing. So I would think that it would probably be the ground to work for submission.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's what I think the takedowns, we just don't see it, which is why it's so hard for me to pull the trigger on Charon. Thing is, like we've seen Alhberg gas though, very little MMA experience. He's 3-1 pro record. So yeah, I mean, Charon's definitely way more MMA experience. The numbers a little enticing. Yeah, I like both guys for DFS a little bit. Like it's a fight, -400 to end inside the distance. You can't just play all these 8,900, 99,000 guys. You can't just play all these favorites. So if Charon wins, I think it's going to be a big boy score, 7,300. I mean, he's probably going to find the finish. I doubt this card sees the scorecards, but I'm with you. I think Alhberg is definitely the rightful favorite. I think the most likely outcome is a knockout, probably round 1. I mean, if Alhberg hits Charon, like I said, what he hit Kennedy with in the first round, that fight's over for sure. Charon is not surviving like Kennedy did. So I was impressed with his combinations. It was a loss. But like you said, landing 83 significant strikes in the first round, and then he was completely gassed in the second round, but he still landed 60 significant strikes. So that was really impressive. I think Alhberg does get it done. But yeah, if Charon wins, it's going to be a really, really good score for 7,300. So the upside definitely is there. Definitely a really, really fun fight to watch. Let's get into the next fight. This is where the playbook today, when this fight's moved around, when a fight got canceled, Renato Moycano, Alexander Hernandez was on the prelims. It's now on the main card. So it's not the official bout order, but we're going based on the playbook. Renato Moycano, Alexander Hernandez. Moycano -160, Hernandez +140. This fight's -165 to end inside the distance. I'm excited for this one. 2 top 25 lightweights. Both have had UFC experience, winning really good pro records. They fought good competition. Both guys skilled in a lot of areas. I'm very excited for this one. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I was a Hernandez guy early on. I thought he was going to be very good in that division.
When you finish Dariush, like the bar is set pretty high.
Yeah. And he took a couple losses on the chin, that Cerrone fight, and he soured on me. But to be fair, he has been fighting better lately. He's won 2 of the last 3 fights, but the competition level has not been great in that span. Now, if this was 3 years ago, I would have been on Moycano strong here because I think his skill set is better than Alexander Hernandez. And on his best day, we know he was able to beat very high level opponents. But is Moycano still that guy right now is the question. And the answer is probably not. No. So, like, in terms of fight script, I don't think that Hernandez is going to use his wrestling here because of how dangerous Moicano is on the ground. So it feels like this is probably going to take place on the feet. And I'm slightly worried about Moicano's leg kicks, but I'm going to lean with the dog here in Hernandez at plus 150 in 2022. Had this been 2019 or 18, I probably would have had a bet on Moicano here. But yeah, at this price, lean Hernandez here for me.
Definitely makes sense. Everything you said, I completely agree with. I don't think Alexander Hernandez has good wrestling. I don't think he's going to use his wrestling in this one, though, because you don't want to be on the mat with Moicano. His grappling is really, really good. Moicano has no wins by knockout, and 8 of his 15 wins are by submission, which is pretty crazy. Now, when you say that, you'd think like, oh, Moicano, just a submission guy. He has no stand-up. That's definitely not the case. I mean, Moicano can strike. His leg kicks are nasty, like you said. He's long. He throws very good volume, too. The volume advantage is definitely with Moicano. He lands 5.57 significant strikes per minute to Hernandez, whatever, 3.62. But the thing is, Hernandez is the one that has the power advantage for sure. And Moicano's had that chin rocked. So I think it's going to be Moicano winning the minutes for sure. If Hernandez doesn't find the chin, I think it will be a Moicano decision. But Hernandez is live for that finish at any single time with his power, with the chin. I mean, he finished Chris Grutzmacher. No, Grutzmacher isn't a great fighter or anything, but he's very durable, as we know, and he just starched him right away. So Hernandez has a big power advantage. He has the wrestling advantage. I'm not expecting him to use the wrestling, though, like we said. Other than that, the grappling, Moicano all day, the volume, Moicano. I think it's a really fun fight. I'm with you. I think Hernandez 7,700 on DraftKings is a very interesting play. Plus 250 to end inside the distance is his line to finish the fight. Yeah, 7,700 on a card like this. The dogs aren't the best in my opinion. I like more favorites than I think you do. So I have Hernandez a 7,700 GPP tag. As far as Moicano, I think he has passed to finish this fight too. If this fight does get to the mat, Hernandez definitely has to mind his P's and Q's because, man, Moicano can find a submission at any time. The leg kicks could be a big problem. If he spams these leg kicks early, they can bother Hernandez. And we know once your calf kick, once your leg is done in MMA, you're pretty much dead out there. You can't really do anything. So minus 165 to end inside the distance, 8,500 Moicano, 7,700 Hernandez. It's a fun one. I'm going to go with Moicano slightly. I hear you. I'm nervous about that power right up the middle and Moicano's chin being gone, but I love these leg kicks. Any guy that throws these nasty calf kicks, I'm a huge fan of it. So my lean slightly there, totally here. I wouldn't bet minus 165 Moicano. So totally hear you on the betting, taking the underdog plus 140. Definitely a fun fight though, for sure. The next fight, man, I'm very excited to talk about this one, but I'll hold my excitement right now. Ronnie Lawrence, Mana Martinez. Ronnie Lawrence coming in at minus 300, Mana Martinez plus 235. This fight's plus 120 to end inside the distance. I'll just throw it to you right away, Keg, because I'm excited for this one.
Well, listen, I'm excited to hear you talk about this one because this was the one fight that was basically a total pass for me. I think Lawrence wins the fight, but the numbers too inflated for me. And then I took a look at the props, didn't really see anything I fell in love with. So yeah, God, please wax poetic, because this is a pass for me.
Yeah, for betting, I totally get what you're saying. For DFS, Ronnie Lawrence is one of my guys. He's one of my favorite fighters. I absolutely love everything I see about him. His takedowns, he's absolutely relentless with the takedowns. He changed them. His striking is very impressive. He's showing a pretty good chin. He's shown good fight IQ. He's had one fight in the UFC so far. So a lot of you watching probably don't know the name. And the fight was about a year ago. He was booked against Trevin Jones, had a couple fights fall out. But man, this guy can wrestle. He can chain takedowns. If you get up, he's going to put you right back on the mat. This is a guy that we love in DFS. I put in the playbook, I think he's like Morozov Jr. Obviously, anytime you're comparing someone to Morozov, I'm not saying he has the same ceiling, stuff like that. But I think Ronnie Lawrence is going to be a problem in the UFC for a while. In the Contender Series and his first UFC fight, he has 20 takedowns combined in those two fights. And you just don't, those aren't numbers you see very often. This guy is going to put you on your butt and he's going to hold you there. A lot of top control. It's going to give you some ground and pound. If you get up, he's going to put you back down. He scored 134 in his debut in a decision win. So just because this fight's supposed to go to decision, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Ronnie Lawrence just break Mana Martinez. It's really tough to fight a guy like Lawrence for 15 minutes when right out the gate, I think he's going to be going for the takedowns and fighting smart. Now, Mana Martinez isn't a bum, though. This guy came in pretty highly touted. His first fight there against Guido Canetti, the old man. It's tough to put too much stock into that fight. His coach passed away the week of. He missed weight. It was really post-game or his post-fight interview too. It was really obvious that his head just wasn't where it was supposed to be, and rightfully so. That's a lot of adversity you have to deal with. So I kind of just threw that fight out. He wasn't impressive at all. He was very hesitant on the feet. It was a close fight with Canetti. I thought he was going to starch him. He was a big favorite. This guy has a lot of power, though. He came into the UFC, multiple first-round wins. The guy goes out there, he starches his opponents quick, and he goes home. Yes, he can find the one-shot power. Of course he can in any MMA fight. He has the power to finish Ronnie Lawrence. I don't think Ronnie Lawrence is going to give him that chance, though. I really like his IQ, his takedowns, and I just think it's a takedown. It's a grappling fest for 15 minutes or eventually until Mana Martinez breaks, personally. So what are your thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on Ronnie Lawrence? Because I'm high on this guy, not just in this fight. I'm high on this guy in the future.
Yeah, I mean, I completely basically agree with everything you said. The only reason why I can't get involved with him is just only because of the price. And then when I think don't you think he has multiple paths to victory? So it's hard to sell out on a method of victory for him.
For sure. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, he really does. I think maybe my favorite would be a little sprinkle in round 3, but I wouldn't you can't do like a full unit on decision. Can't do a full unit. And I don't want to bet minus 310. I'm with you. Like we don't do that here. Like minus 310, that's just a really bad bet in MMA, especially. So yeah, it could easily be a decision. It could easily be inside the distance. I'm going to say I'm really high on Lawrence. I'm going to say he does end up breaking Martinez and gets a 3rd round finish or something. But even for DFS, like I said, if this fight goes to decision, it really doesn't matter. This guy can put up a big score as he showed last fight, even in decision wins. So I'm very, very excited for this one. Very excited to see Ronnie Lawrence back in action. And I'm expect takedowns, top control. And Mana Martinez I don't think he's going to be able to settle in to his striking, to his power, just because he's going to be scared of the takedown the whole time. So yeah, he's minus 300 for a reason. I saw he got a little more steam. I think he's like minus 310 at some books and stuff today, but I got Ronnie Lawrence. I think inside the distance, I'm going to say, but I'm with you. I'm not too confident on it. It's plus 215. Maybe you can throw a little sprinkle on inside the distance around 3 or something, but we both have Ronnie Lawrence to win this fight. Tougher to bet, easier for DFS. I really like him for sure. Next fight, man, Keg. This one, we were talking a little pre-show. It's not every day where you see a fighter miss weight by 12 pounds. We got Maxim Grisham. We got William Knight. minus 165 for Grisham. William Knight coming back at plus 145. This fight's minus 125 to end inside the distance. The fight was supposed to be at 205. Yeah, William Knight today weighed in at 218. So this fight's somehow still on. We were all very surprised about that. I think Maxim Grisham just said, give me the money. I just want to fight. What are your thoughts on this, Keg? What are your thoughts? It's an interesting one.
It's batshit crazy that Houston is letting this fight happen. I mean,
I'm happy. Keep as many fights on the card as possible. I'm happy, but I'm with you.
Yeah. I hear you.
No, I'm with you.
Yeah, I don't know what to think about the whole missed weight today by 12, but I don't think it's because he's not invested. I think it's because he took this fight on short notice and was way bigger than he told the UFC he was.
Makes sense.
Right? Now, this was one of the fights I liked a lot too, man, because I lean towards the dog here in Willie Knight at plus 150 or in that range. I know that he has the 5-inch height disadvantage, but, you would think that he's going to try to chop out that lead leg of Grisham to make it easier for him to get inside. And Knight's so explosive that I think it could be hard for Grisham to not get caught in that 15-minute span because Grisham's clearly on the downside of the hill at this point in his career. But the thing that's making me hesitate right now on the Knight is there's been 5 times in UFC history where somebody's missed weight by 10 plus pounds. All 5 times those fighters went 0-5. Now, that's a very small sample size, but it's still compelling. Now, I'm still going to lean with a dog here, and I'm going to lean towards Knight, but I'm holding off because I'd like to see what happens to this line overnight. Maybe I could squeeze a little bit more value before I get involved. But nonetheless, I think that's concerning. But yeah, I'm going to lean Willie Knight here in that 150 range.
When I looked, it looked like the odds moved a little to William Knight's favor. He got a little steam after he did miss weight. I saw it was like minus 175 at some books. It came down to minus 165. I think when I looked, so Grisham was minus 175, then went to 165. Looked like a little buy in William Knight. Because, yeah, I mean, I didn't know that the stat you said that fighters that miss weight by 10 plus pounds were over 5. I had no clue. I learned that pre-show. And, yeah, kind of surprised because when you and I were talking, it's like, man, like you would expect that. I mean, obviously 12 pounds, you didn't try to make weight. Like 12 pounds, you just don't see that. William Knight, he's massive for 205. He's short, but, man, this guy, what we refer to as a grown-ass man, and this guy is huge. So 212, it's not like he's got more fat than he should. I mean, this guy is ripped. He's got power. He does throw nasty leg kicks. Maxim Grisham, 37 years old. I was impressed with this fight against Dustin Jacoby, I will say. Dustin Jacoby is a good striker, and that was a really close fight. He did lose by unanimous decision, but that was a lot closer fight than the scorecards will tell you. So the thing that I look at, kind of like the betting, like you've been talking about, like value and stuff. Grisham's 8,700 on DraftKings. William Knight's 7,500 on DraftKings. There's so many good fighters in the upper tier that are really tough to fade or get underweight and stuff. And you have to make some stances. I'm not going to fully fade Grisham. If I'm only making a couple lineups, Grisham definitely will not be in my lineups. If you're making 20, might have him in 1 or 2. But I just can't play him over certain guys in his range when I think William Knight is very live. He has the power to shut off Grisham's lights at any time. And I think the leg kicks are going to be a big thing for him too. So I'm with you. I lean the dog. I like that he has a lot more weight coming into this fight. I think there's even more power than he usually has. And yeah, 37-year-old Grisham, I mean, with age, your chin doesn't get any better more than most of the time. So I think William Knight can find the chin. I think he can finish Grisham. It's very scary to be underweight on Grisham because, I mean, maybe he just sets a pace on William Knight, walks him forward, throws a lot of volume and just breaks William Knight and eventually gets a finish and a big score that way. So it's definitely not out of the realm of possibilities. I think Grisham's going to be pretty low owned. He'll be one of the lowest owned fighters in the upper tier. It's coming in at is what I'm seeing. So yeah, if you want to play a low-owned fighter, try and get overweight that way, hope for Grisham big score. I don't hate it. This fight is minus 125 to end inside the distance. Grisham plus 215, William Knight plus 250. So yeah, a lot of these fights have very good odds to finish though. I'm leaning William Knight. I'm with you. The $1,200 price difference is really what catches my attention. I like that the line moved a little with William Knight missing weight. I think the power advantage. I think William Knight has passed 2 victories. So I'm with you. I'm going to lean William Knight as the dog, but I'm definitely not very confident. It's more of a price play for me where I need more underdogs than I do people in the upper tier. So that's kind of how I'm seeing it. Let's get into the next fight on the card. Casey O'Neill taking on Roxanne Modafferi. Minus 400 Casey O'Neill, plus 300 for Roxanne, plus 122 end inside the distance. So it's a retirement fight for Roxy, a legend of the sport, been around for a long time. And the UFC is doing her no favors as a retirement fight, trying to boost the name a little more for Casey O'Neill, who's been very impressive in the UFC so far. 3 fights, 3 finishes. Look at the DraftKings scoring. She's put up 3 very good scores for DraftKings. I'll go to you, Keg. Are you seeing Casey O'Neill dominating, or you think there's some value on Roxy on her last fight?
The librarian has been the bane of my existence for a decade, okay? The times that I have backed her, she has lost.
Oh,
When I fade her, she finds a way to beat me. I am so excited to not have to watch Roxanne Modafferi ever fight again that it's palpable. Now, in saying that, I wish the happy warrior nothing but blessings in the next chapter of her life. But yeah, give me Casey O'Neill here by any way she wants. If you're looking for a wager because you feel like you have to bet this fight, don't know why you would. The only look I can co-sign here is probably O'Neill decision at even money, but that's about it. Am I going to bet it? Probably not.
so you're leaning decision. Yeah, this is where I was going back and forth. I think it's Casey O'Neill all day. I'm 100% with you. Roxy's very.
How many times have you and I seen Roxy a 0.4 seconds away from getting finished, and she always finds a way to get through?
It's all heart. I talked about in the playbook. I mean, she's a perfect example of work ethic and heart can take you a long way, not only in this sport, just in life in general. I mean, one of the least athletic fighters you'll ever see. She has no power. She just has all heart, all toughness. And yeah, I mean, that's the scary thing of Eileen. Casey O'Neill does finish. I mean, her ground game, her grappling, I think she can get it to the mat easily. And I think when she does, I mean, her grappling is really, really good, as we've seen. But yeah, I mean, Roxy just doesn't get finished. It's very rare to see her get finished in fights. She's very tough. She has been submitted 3 times. Man, this is tough. I'm leaning that Casey O'Neill does get the finish. I think either way, kind of like the Ronnie Lawrence. I'm not expecting Casey to get as many takedowns because I don't think Roxy can keep getting up like Mana Martinez might be able to. I think because Roxanne, she's a black belt in BJJ. Like, she's kind of comfortable off her back where she shouldn't be for sure, but we've seen her fine on her back, just stay out of trouble, stay out of the submission, live to fight another round and stuff. So I think a lot of top control. I would be surprised to see too many takedowns for O'Neill because I just don't think Roxanne can get up like that, but you can still score. I mean, if you have 12 minutes of control time in DFS, mix in a couple takedowns, ground and pound, stuff like that, you'll still score very well. So decision, you can still score well. I'm leaning inside the distance, but I'm with you, man. Like, Roxanne, she just doesn't get finished. Like, very rarely does she get finished, and she's fought everybody. So I'm with you. I'm not going to bet inside the distance. I'm not going to bet decision. My lean is inside the distance. Keg's lean is decision. But yeah, it's really close. Well, we got Casey O'Neill plus 180 to end inside the distance. You said she's plus 100. She's even money to win by decision, you said, Keg?
It was like minus 110 when I was
minus 110
earlier today.
Being there in here saying Roxanne winning this one, book it. Being there, I don't know if you're just talking the talk or if you actually believe that, but if you actually believe that, being there, you let me know right now if you actually believe that. And if she does, that'll be quite the call. I just do not see this happening. I don't know where she wins this fight at all, to be honest. So Casey O'Neill. It's Casey O'Neill all day for me and Keg. Next fight on the card, Andre Arlovski, Jared Vanderaa, minus 155 Arlovski, plus 135 Vanderaa. This fight is plus 130 to end inside the distance. Heavyweight fight. Arlovski's 42 years old. Vanderaa hasn't been the most impressive in the UFC. This is the least exciting fight on the card for me, by a good margin, I think. So what are you seeing in this one, Keg?
Yeah, if you look at the latter stage of Arlovski's career, he has beaten pretty much every guy that he should beat in the division. And he usually only loses to people that make a push in this division. And that is not Jared Vanderaa. However the fuck you say it.
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
He's a bottom of the barrel heavyweight, in my opinion, on the level of fighters like Sherman, Felipe, Bozer, Lins, which Arlovski beat all of them. And, against this level of competition, it's been one of the more profitable heavyweight betting strategies back in Arlovski in spots like these. So it feels like an Arlovski decision to me at plus 110. But, you could lay the minus 138, which is a fair price in this spot, in my opinion. So it's Arlovski here for me, no doubt.
I agree 100% with you. I said Arlovski by decision too. It's not a fight I'm very excited about. Arlovski keeps finding a way to get the job done, though. He really does, and I'm with you. I don't think Vanderaa. I think his best path is if he gets it on the mat. He's a very big heavyweight. He tips the scales every single time out. So if he gets on top, anyone's gonna have trouble getting him off of you. But Arlovski, he stays at distance. He knows he has good fight IQ. I think he outpoints Vanderaa and wins a decision. So I'm 100% with you. 2 for 2. Arlovski by decision is how I see this one too. For Benair said, I bet on her and have 50% right now on Roxanne. Man, there's a lot of charities out there being there that can use your money a lot better ways than some sports books and DraftKings. So I don't know about that one being there, but hey, if Roxanne gets it done for you, I will definitely give you a little props on that one. But that's a tough one. Put your money where your mouth is, though. That's what you're doing. Next fight on the card. This is a fun one. This was kicking off the main card. I still think it is. Bobby Green taking on Nasrat Haqparast. Minus 140 Bobby Green. Nasrat coming back at plus 120. This fight is plus 140 to end inside the distance. Bobby Green, what do we always say usually? Bobby Green is going to go to decision. I'm throwing out his last fight against Al Quinta. Quinta, he went on the podcast. He admitted that he wasn't in the right mind to fight. He got hit once and he pretty much just quit. He said he wasn't knocked out. He said it wasn't his day. He's retired. Like he sells houses. He has money. There was no reason he should have been fighting. He realized that once he got hit once, it seemed, and he took the easy way out, and he admitted that. So props to him for admitting that. It was a very interesting interview to see. But I'm not saying like, oh, Bobby Green's a finisher now or something like that because of that fight. I'm just scrapping that. That was not Quinta was not in that fight at all. But Bobby Green has looked good as of late. I mean, going toe to toe against Rafael Fiziev, you don't see too many people do that. And some people said he won that fight. It was a close one for sure, but he was really having success in the striking exchanges. The power shots were for Fiziev, but I thought it was a pretty good fight. Bobby Green always has wrestling in his back pocket. He doesn't always show it. Bobby Green fights are fun for sure. What do you think in this one?
I mean, if this isn't a buy low spot, man, baby gas, you will probably never back him again ever. Like at one point in time, Nasrat Haqparast was touted as one of the 5 best prospects in the UFC, and he just wasn't ready. And he's such a well-rounded fighter, it doesn't make sense that he has struggled as much as he has. Now, in saying that, he's 2-2 in his last 4 fights, and the 2 losses were against Dan Hooker and Drew Dober. So, I mean, I don't really fault him for that. Now, Bobby Green, man, people talk about this guy like he's having this amazing resurgence. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about MMA journalism at large. they talk about him like, this incredible resurgence. The dude's 4-4 in his last 8 fights. I think that the perception is just go ahead.
No, I was just saying some of those like Bobby Green fights are always a decision. He feels like he's been on the wrong side of some of those too, but I'm with you. All of his fights are close.
Yeah, I think that the perception is skewed on Bobby Green because he was such a jobber that seemed pretty average for so long that people feel like he's found a new gear. Now, I will say that I was impressed with the way that Green hung in the Rafael Fiziev fight. He held his own and he lost a close decision. But, I still don't think Bobby Green should be in that minus 150 favorite range against somebody as well-rounded, even if the results don't always bear that out. Now, so I'm going to lean Nasrat Haqparast here at plus 120 because if not now, when? At a bare minimum, I think this fight should be a pick, which is what the line opened at. So the betting market has basically given me 40 cents of value almost. Now I think that they've jumped the shark a bit here. So yeah, lean Nasrat Haqparast for me.
Yeah, it makes sense. So I was thinking of like the Thiago Moises fight. I don't know how Bobby Green didn't win that fight. I thought the judges completely got it wrong. He's always in close fights though. And yeah, as a favorite, Bobby Green in a favor when you think it's going to go to the judges, it's tough to lay minus 140 and stuff. And like you said, yeah, Nasrat, he came in as a very highly touted prospect. Drew Dober, Dan Hooker, there's no shame in losing those guys. My question for you though is, because I think Bobby Green can have some success replicating what Dan Hooker did, is the takedowns in the wrestling. I mean, we see Bobby Green average about 1.5 takedowns per 15 minutes. When you think of Bobby Green, you think of him as a showman, you think of him as a striker and stuff like that, but he has wrestling chops in his back pocket. And Dan Hooker had success taking down Nasrat. He had success holding him down. Do you think Bobby Green can implement that same game plan, or do you think this fight stays on the feet for 15 minutes?
I think that the fight stays on the feet. And I kind of lean towards if it's going to go down, it's going to be because of Haqparast.
You think he'll be getting the takedowns?
I lean that I think it's either going to be standing because Green is so confident in his stand-up game that most of the time he doesn't even try to wrestle. So yeah, I lean that they're going to probably be on their feet for 15 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, when I saw he averaged 1.5 takedowns per 15 minutes, it surprised me a little bit because like you said, people think of Bobby Green, you just think he's always on the feet. And yeah, against Thiago Moises, that the path to victory is staying on the feet, stuff like that. But I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know. Maybe I could definitely be wrong, but I think Bobby Green puts on his wrestling shoes a little bit. I think he secures at least 2 takedowns personally. I don't know. I definitely might be wrong. I think he implements the wrestling chops, which is why I do like Bobby Green by decision. But I hear you. I mean, if this fight stays standing for 15 minutes, I don't think we see a finish. I think it goes to the judges. And every Bobby Green fight, when it's standing, it's a close one. You usually feel better if you have plus money going into it. So I hear you for sure. I'm excited for this fight. I think it's going to be fun. I think it can go in a lot of ways. You think Nasrat can even get a takedown. I think Bobby can get a takedown. I think they both have fun striking exchanges. This should be a fun MMA fight, pretty high level, and one that will be exciting to kick off the main card, I think. I think the crowd's going to be into this one. So Bobby Green fights, I enjoy them. Bobby Green, Nasrat, good fight. 8,400 Bobby Green, 7,800 for Nasrat. Let's get into the next fight. We have the biggest favorite on the card, Kyler Phillips, coming in at minus 450, taking on Marcelo Rojo, plus 340. This fight's minus 225 to end inside the distance. Before I kick it to you, I just want to say, last fight, Kyler Phillips, it's marked as a loss to Raulian Paiva. That fight should have been a draw. Why even have 10-8s in the possibilities if you're not going to use it? There's no possible way. The first round for Phillips was the same as what Paiva did to him in round 2 and round 3. The fight almost got stopped. I know you agree with me too. Anybody I won't say anybody with the brain, but pretty much anybody with the brain thinks it was a 10-8 in the first round. So yeah, it says loss. I'll say draw, but regardless, Kyler Phillips, he just beat Song Yadong. Like, he should have won that fight. It shouldn't, like, there's no excuses for him. He gassed out, but I had it as a draw. He dominated first round. What are you seeing in this one?
All right, hear me out. Kyler Phillips is a stud, no doubt. And I also think that he's probably better than Marcelo Rojo everywhere. Okay. But I don't think that these odds are a fair representation of each fighter's chances to win the fight.
I'm with you. That's why I brought it up earlier, like about Morozov minus 210, and then Kyler Phillips. Like, I'm with you. These odds are crazy. I would never touch this line.
Right. Yeah. Like, should Rojo be a dog here? Yes, but not a 50 dog. Maybe a plus 250 dog or plus 220, because I think that Rojo is a dangerous fighter. He's bigger than Phillips, and I think that he's really tricky off his back. He has power for that division, and he throws a ton of volume. Those are the attributes that you want when you're looking to steal a win every once in a while at plus 350. So the pick to win the fight, Kyler Phillips, based off skill set. But based on the price, I lean Marcelo Rojo, and I might even throw something on him before the fight, because there's already value on this number, and Phillips just continues to take money. So like that's what I've got here. I do think Phillips probably wins, but I'll probably have a little bit on Rojo.
I literally everything you said, I agree with. Kyler Phillips is a stud. He's a stud in every area. The guy can get it to the mat, have a lot of success. On the feet, he's a stud. The cardio, yeah, I mean, it's a little concern after what we saw last fight. He just threw a lot of crazy techniques that used a lot of energy for no reason, kind of like we saw Michel Pereira do, I mean, a lot of his career. But we've seen recently kind of against Chaos Williams certain things where you just calm down a little bit. You don't waste all your energy doing crazy stuff. I'm hoping that's the Kyler Phillips we get, because when he's technical, when he's fighting smart, he's really, really dangerous. I mean, you don't just go beat Song Yadong. You don't take Song Yadong down 3 times. Like, you have a lot of talent if you're doing that. So last fight, definitely disappointing. I think Kyler Phillips, the easiest path to victory, I think, is just take this guy down, ground and pound him, and you can have your way with them. If he does that, yeah, he'll probably look like a minus 450 favorite. But when this fight's on the feet, Rojo's got power. He really does. I mean, he's big, like you said. He's got power. Anytime someone's plus 350 like that, like, this guy's no bum by any means. This guy, he's an MMA fighter. Like, he's solid. He should be in the UFC. Charles Jourdain put a beating on him, so we haven't seen him in a long time. But, I mean, my pick's Kyler Phillips for sure in DFS. I like Kyler Phillips. I think he gets the win. But for betting, I'm totally with you. I don't think Kyler Phillips should be the biggest favorite on the card. And I think plus 350 for Rojo is just disrespectful, to be honest. I wouldn't even use Kyler Phillips in parlays. I think there's a lot of better parlay pieces out there. There's no chance I touch anything with Kyler Phillips in the betting markets. But yeah, I think if he takes the fight to the mat, I think it's a pretty easy path to victory there. I think he can get the finish and have success there. So yeah, Kyler Phillips is my pick, but I'm glad we're on the same page that this line just seems off. So do not bet him at minus 450 or whatever he is at whatever he's at on your book. But he's minus 135 to end inside the distance. He's 9,400 for DraftKings. So yeah, he's supposed to get a finish. He's supposed to score well. Yeah, of course I'm going to play some Kyler Phillips. But yeah, this line, I think it's crazy. Keg thinks it's crazy. So do not bet it for sure if you are watching. Next fight, we got 3 fights left, and man, all 3 of these fights are really, really good. Very exciting. Jared Cannonier taking on Derek Brunson, 2 top 5 middleweights. This fight should be tons of fun. We got Cannonier minus 160, Derek Brunson plus 140. This fight's minus 152 and inside the distance. It's a clash of styles. Derek Brunson, we know what he wants to do. He has cashed as an underdog in 5 straight fights. Man, we've been on the Derek Brunson train a little over here lately. Kevin Holland made no sense. A couple of the fights it really made no sense. Darren Till thought that line was completely crazy. But man, this is, I think, his toughest opponent in the last 5 for sure, Jared Cannonier. think the takedown defense for Cannonier, it's tough to like, he has 62% takedown defense on paper, but he's fought at heavyweight. He's fought at light heavyweight. He's fought at 3 divisions. His takedown defense is by far the best right now where he's at middleweight because he's shredded for the division. He's way more mobile on the feet. He still carries the power. Middleweight is definitely where he should be. I think this is a tough fight for Derek Brunson personally. I think Cannonier can stuff the takedowns. We know Derek Brunson's chin is dust. We know Cannonier has some of the most power in the UFC. I have a little feeling, though, you're going to be on the other side of this one, though, Keg. You like a lot of dogs on this card. Let me know if you're on the other side, because it's always good to disagree, and tell me why if you are.
Well, we have agreed way too much on the show. Like,
for sure.
We should start fighting like and Stephen A at some point. But no, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. I was never really a Brunson guy, but he's won me
till he put his hair blonde, and then you're like, yep, now I'm a Brunson guy.
The last 3 years, like he's a tough out, man. Now he's been around forever, so we know what he is. Okay, striker, elite wrestler, elite top control, can submit you if you leave a neck or arm out there in the wind. Now, Cannonier is just a ball of power and aggression, right? And his striking is super legit. And I do think that he also has his own top control wrestling game sometimes that he can try to use if he chooses to. But I doubt he will with Brunson as the opponent. Now, we've seen Cannonier go 5 rounds and win a decision and still be fresh. So cardio isn't a problem for him. It's not a problem for Brunson either. And you know what, man? You're right. Brunson's chin, which has been known to be so dusted out, has been pretty durable on this run. You know what I mean? You never see him get better, but I mean, he has been pretty durable on this run.
Yeah, he definitely had, like, he's also had so much top control and takedowns where it hasn't been tested as much. Like I'm thinking back to that Kevin Holland fight. Like, he controlled that fight so much on the mat, but even when Brunson dominated that whole fight, but when it was on the feet, you could still tell, at least for me, like, it was like, man, that Brunson chin, like Holland touched him a couple of times and you could tell Brunson didn't like it. That's what scares me, because if Holland's getting dominated on the mat that whole fight and he's still 4th round and stuff, hitting that chin a little bit, I'm just a little nervous about Cannonier. If he connects.
I don't disagree with you.
No,
I think both these guys, I think, can win the fight. I'm gonna give the slight lean here to the dog, just because of the price. But the play that stands out to me the most that I like in this fight is the over 2.5 rounds at -110. I know Cannonier's dangerous, but Brunson.
You think he can win a decision? You think Cannonier? Because if this fight, so if Cannonier wins, so this is where
yeah, I think he can win it. He's got to up his. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes, dude, he just won't throw a goddamn punch.
Yeah.
His volume sometimes is brutal, but yeah, if he ups the volume, he's capable of winning it.
You think Brunson's chin could last all 15 minutes and still lose the fight?
That's your only worry. So like,
that's my worry.
You're gonna want to see Brunson at least be on the ground and have some top control for, close to half the fight or a third of the fight in order for you to feel better, probably.
Yeah.
Over the 2.5 rounds. But Brunson is a hell of a wrestler, man, and his takedown is super solid. So he could definitely take Cannonier down. So yeah, I like the over, and I lean the dog just because of the value.
Jonathan Nelson brought up, like, I assume you saw Brunson talking about retirement, how he's only going to have 2 fights left. I mean, I don't know why he came out and said that this week. Like, if he wins this fight, he was probably going to be next up for a title. Like, I think he would have got it over Sean Strickland. But if Brunson wins this fight and he says next fight will be his last fight, like, there's no reason that he would get a title shot. Is there any concern with you? I don't know if you saw that, but he just wants to spend more time with his family and stuff. Any concern with you for that? There's no concern over here, personally, but Jonathan Nelson brought it up, and I think it was important to touch on.
I don't think so, because Dana would let him retire as the champion, and then Dana would have two other guys fighting for that belt.
So you think if he wins that he'll still get the title shot? You think Dana still gives it to him? Yeah.
He put in a lot of years for Dana White, man. I think that if he wins, yeah, he's gonna get the shot.
And Dana's probably like, he's not beating Adesanya, or he's not beating Whittaker. Like Dana's probably like thinking he'll lose to because if he won that and just retired with the belt, knowing, that'd be very interesting. If he did that though, and won 7 fights in a row, all his underdogs.
So there would be so much money thrown at him for the Adesanya rematch, bro.
Yeah. Who knows? But yeah, that's very interesting. This is a fun fight though. Definitely a clash of styles. Keg has another dog, Derek Brunson, to get it done. He likes over 2.5. I have Cannonier. I'm going to say Cannonier first round knockout. I really do think that chin goes. I love the power, but I hear you. I mean, Derek Brunson, underdog, his last 5 fights, he's came through every single time. We've been on him a lot. He's going to be owned at DFS too. I mean, Derek Brunson's cashed a lot of people that played DFS and MMA a lot of money as a dog recently. So I expect him to get some ownership for sure. Very fun fight though. Man, talk about fun fights. The next fight on the card, the co-main event. Balls is hot. Hometown man, Derek Lewis, minus 170, takes on Shui Tai Tuivasa, plus 150. Minus 650 to end inside the distance. Minus 175, under 1.5. These boys are going to come out, and they're going to come out swinging, I think. That's what Derek Lewis was saying yesterday. Talk to me, Keg. What you got?
Balls. I always forget about the balls is hot.
You see what he said about in his interview this week? It was his birthday this past week, and he was saying, like, someone asked, could you have a nice meal and stuff like that? He's like, yeah, I could have a nice meal. I got a nice good workout in with my wife after, tried some new things. This man he's just really funny. A good guy on the mic, that's for sure.
To me, this fight seems really easy to break down. I think that these fighters are basically the exact same guy. The only difference to me is Derek Lewis is just better at it, at this style, because he has a power advantage over everybody in the division except Francis. And I know Tuivasa hits like a truck, but you know what? He doesn't hit as hard. And so I think that these guys are going to meet in the middle and bang it out, right, for a few minutes. And with that kind of leather getting thrown, more often than not, Lewis is going to stand at the end. So the one thing that concerns me slightly is the one thing that Tuivasa does better than Lewis are those leg kicks, man. He's got some devastating leg kicks. If Tuivasa can chop down one leg and take the edge off of those punches, then I think that he's live. But based on everything that I've seen with somebody that's willing to stand in front of Derek Lewis and just bang, most of the time those people don't make out that good. So if that's the case, give me Derek Lewis. The question is, if you're on Lewis, do you take the guy by knockout at minus 120, or do you lay the minus 170 at DraftKings? Or do you go under 1.5 rounds minus 170? Doesn't matter who wins. Doesn't matter who drops. Because I have a hard time seeing the fight going over 7.5 minutes, the way that they're going to stand in front of each other. But DraftKings, you could always do. DraftKings has those little parlays. Derek Lewis to win and the under 1.5 rounds plus 110. I mean, I
like
don't.
that.
Yeah, I don't really mind that to try to get a piece of Lewis at some point. I mean, do you see this thing getting to round, like halfway through round 2?
No, it's the ones. So what I was thinking, and I don't think this happens, especially with how they were talking at the interviews, but would you be surprised if you saw Tuivasa try and shoot a double leg and try and get this on the mat, or even Derek Lewis vice versa? I mean, I don't think so with Derek. You would be surprised, yeah. I don't think
it's stunned.
Really stunned. I mean, so Tuivasa, yeah, I with how they were talking, I don't see Derek Lewis doing it. It's in Houston, like the hometown guy. I don't know why he would do it. Tuivasa, I could see, but like I think I don't think it happens. It was in the back of my head, but I mean, we saw Tuivasa like he was seconds away from being knocked out by Greg Hardy. I mean, he was clipped bad, and then his right hand connected, but he was seconds away from this fight not going down this week, and he's not in this situation. Which if Greg Hardy's doing that to you, and it's heavyweights, anybody, but if he's doing that to you, Derek Lewis, when he finds that chin, it's going to be night. I was all over Chris Daukaus too. Lost a big chunk on Daukaus, and it seemed like the first 30 seconds, 45 seconds, you knew that fight was over because Daukaus he couldn't close the distance. He didn't feel comfortable. He was bouncing around to the outside, and then Derek Lewis just starts walking him down a little bit. I don't think Tuivasa can just push the pace and back up Derek Lewis and do what Cyril Gane obviously did to him. There's no chance he can do what Cyril Gane did to him. But I just don't think Tuivasa can close the distance because I just think Derek Lewis is going to catch him if he does so. So I think it kind of goes the same way. The light kicks point you brought up, Daukaus was throwing some pretty nice light kicks in that fight. And Derek Lewis even talked about it. He's like, yeah, it was in an interview. And he was like, yeah, man, I thought it was going to be one of these fights again. Like he just kept spamming the leg kick. Because Derek Lewis doesn't check leg kicks. But when that happened, it just seemed when Derek Lewis, he started getting leg kicked, he just like, screw it. I'm going to walk forward and I'm going to end this fight. That's kind of how I see it happening. If Tuivasa lands a couple leg kicks, I kind of want that to happen because then I think Derek Lewis is going to say, screw this. I'm going to put on the pressure and I'm not going to let this happen. What are your thoughts?
What is he? He's 0-2 in Houston, right? Hasn't won a fight in Houston, right?
Derek Lewis?
Yeah.
I thought it was like 5-1 in Houston. His only loss was Gane or something.
Oh,
I'll look.
I might have been looking at somebody else's number. You could be right.
I want to say it was really good. I want to say it was a good record in Houston, and then the one loss was Gane. Someone in chat will probably know that, but I think I'm pretty certain that he's been good in Houston.
I know that he's going to want to go out and put a show on for this. And I mean, even at the press conference, both guys were like, we're going to meet in the center of the cage and somebody's head's going to go into the 8th row.
That made me feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. And that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah. So for DFS, you got to have interest in both these guys. I like Derek Lewis too. I'm with you. I think he's a little more durable. The thing is, like, durability only goes so far at heavyweight. If you get hit clean, you're going to go down from Tuivasa or Derek Lewis. I like Lewis's durability a little more, but he's just been there, done that against better competition too. He's fought everybody. Tuivasa almost getting knocked out by Hardy. It's heavyweights. Like this guy's going to stand in the middle. Which one connects first? Which one goes down first? So I lean Lewis. I think Lewis does get it done for sure. But if you're making 20 teams or 150 teams, you'd be a fool to completely fade Tai Tuivasa. I mean, someone's going to go down probably in the first round. And if you get a first round knockout, you're always sitting pretty in DFS. So my pick's Lewis. Keg's picks Lewis. The fans are going to be the real winners in this one, I think, though. This fight somehow goes into the 3rd round. Everybody would be shocked. I don't even know what would happen. It'd have to be someone using the wrestling, but I'm with you. I don't think that happens. Very fun. I think my favorite bet is that plus 110 under 1.5 and Derek Lewis by knockout. What was it? Derek Lewis and under 1.5 or knockout 1.5.
Yeah, it was Derek Lewis to win and under 1.5 round.
Yeah, so you could win either way. Yeah, makes sense. I do like that one plus 110. That'd probably be my favorite look. Getting Derek Lewis at plus money when you think it ends in the first round, that makes some sense. But very, very good fight there. Main event, the rematch from 2019. The middleweight strap is on the line. Israel Adesanya, minus 290, taking on Bobby Knuckles. Robert Whittaker, plus 230. This fight's minus 110 to end inside the distance. Back in 2019, Adesanya got a 2nd round KO win. Bobby Knuckles, he just didn't look like the Robert Whittaker we know. He really struggled at range. You could tell that he couldn't get a read on Adesanya. A lot of people are talking this week about, like, is Robert Whittaker, he's going to come in with the same game plan kind of against Kelvin Gastelum. Not necessarily that was maybe his game plan against Gastelum, but he took down Gastelum. He took him down 4 times. I don't think he can have that same success with Adesanya. The only time you've really seen Adesanya controlled was when he moved up to fight Jan at 205, and Jan was probably weighing 230 by fight night or whatever, and Adesanya came in below the limit. Vettori, who I think is a better wrestler than Whittaker, he struggled to take down and control Adesanya. Personally, I think this fight's similar to the first. I think Bobby Knuckles survives longer. I think he makes it more competitive. I think this fight decision, I think Adesanya by decision is a good look. That's where I'm at right now. Because I do think Whittaker is a complete stud. I do think he has more success from the first fight. He can get his reads a little more. I think he knows what to prepare for and stuff like that. But I think Adesanya by decision, it's scary. Adesanya can finish anyone. I wish I could go with Robert Whittaker. I love the man. I want him to get it done, but I just don't see it happening. What do you think in this fight?
I think that there comes a time in sports where you're the best middleweight in the world, except the one guy that's just like a stratosphere above you. And that's where Robert Whittaker is. He is clear-cut second best middleweight in the world. And I to be honest, I don't even think it's close.
I said that in the playbook, second best middleweight in the world. I agree.
Did you really?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, when was the last loss besides Adesanya? 2016 or something? Like,
and I'm a Vittori truther.
Oh, I love Vittori.
Yeah, but still, I mean, he's just not on Bobby's level. But here's the problem. He was so severely outclassed in that first fight. It wasn't even competitive. It was one of Adesanya's easiest fights 2.5 years ago, when Adesanya, he knows obviously much more now than he did then. And I went back this week and I watched Whittaker against Till, Cannonier, and Gastelum, the 3 wins since dropping the title to Izzy. And I watched them a couple times, and I just have not seen enough growth in Robert Whittaker's game for absolutely anything that happened in the first fight to be different. I think he'll struggle to get him down if he tries. And I think that Adesanya is wicked in the clinch. And that's not where you want to be against him anyway. And I think that this ends inside 3 rounds, just like the first fight did. And I think it's going to be another, sadly, easy day for Adesanya, because I love Robert Whittaker too. I'm with you, man. I love the guy. He's just incredibly talented, but he's not Israel Adesanya, and I think that he's going to get starched and dropped again.
Yeah, so you like the plus 150 Adesanya inside the distance, I take it, right? It sounds like that's what your favorite bet on the whole card. It sounds like, right? Or one of them?
That's one of them.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm getting a little more faith in the Whittaker, thinking he can survive. Oh man, it is tough. Why? Because it's over 4.5. Let me pull up best fight. Over 4.5, minus 125, under 4.5, plus 1. If you think it goes under 3.5, you can get plus 140. 5. I don't see any DraftKings or FanDuel props.
Yeah, I feel pretty strongly that this is going to end.
Yeah. It definitely makes sense. The first fight was definitely ended in the second round. I'm putting a little more faith into Bobby Knuckles, hoping he can do it. I also will say the bigger cage is a huge advantage for Adesanya too. He just uses distance so well, switches stance, the mixing up the kicks at all 3 levels. So the big cage definitely helps him. Were you about to say something, Keg?
Yeah, how I think this is going to go down, right, is Whittaker's going to go in that cage when when Bruce is on the mic and introducing him, and he's going through all the tidbits that he's learned over the last 2.5 years. I'm going to use this shit. I'm going to use this. And then the fight's going to start, and he's going to get frustrated like he did the first time, that it's incredibly hard to hit Israel Adesanya when you're moving forward, because Izzy makes you move forward. He won't come to you. And that's when you get boring fights like the Yoel Romero fight. So it's not going to move. Robert's going to get annoyed. And then 4 minutes in, all that shit he learned the last 2.5 years goes out the window. He gets frustrated all over again, like he did in that first fight. He starts lunging. He starts like over. I can't think of the word.
Yeah, he's overcommitting.
Extends himself, right? Overcommit, right?
Yeah.
And then Izzy has a wicked counter striking game, and that's a wrap. And I think it's probably inside 3 rounds again.
I hear you. Yeah, the 4-inch height advantage, the 6-inch reach advantage is the huge thing. I mean, you can notice when they face offs, like Adesanya is just much bigger. I think Whittaker struggles finding his range too. I hope he can last 25 minutes. You think it ends inside the first 3 rounds. It'll be a very fun fight nonetheless, but I think it is, and still Adesanya, he's lapped this whole division. But like I said in the playbook, Whittaker deserves this rematch. I think he's the second best in the world at middleweight, and I think this is the best fight you can make. So I'll be rooting for Whittaker. Actually, maybe I won't because my pockets. Maybe I'll probably be rooting for Adesanya by decision. But it really would be cool to see Whittaker get it done. We just don't think that is going to be the case. That was all 14 fights. The playbook is up. Not sure, Keg, do you have any bets right now up on Run Pure Bets for this card or not yet?
I don't yet, but I will though. I'm waiting for some numbers to move.
So, sounds good. So Keg will have some bets up on the Run Pure Bet side. Make sure you get in the Discord over there too. He'll let you all know. He'll be live for the Keg live show. MMA betting live is very profitable. So make sure you check out the Keg live show. Let them know one more time where they can find that the package if they want to do that. And also I want to hear your Super Bowl predictions if you have any this weekend.
Oh God, the Rams. I think the Rams win. I think they get it done. I'm big on Joe Mixon receiving props and Rams sack props this weekend.
Yeah, I like it.
But yeah,
talking about Keg Live,
where all the packages are, you'll see the bet side, the DFS side. We have like add-ons for I think like the Saberson and then you got the add-on for the live show. So it's been profitable. Everybody knows the deal. I've been doing it for 4.5 years now, almost at this point. And for anybody that wants to sign up to the bet side, use the promo code BETS25OFF to get 25% off the first week or month. It costs you about $45. Got a great talented team over there. JJ, me, Shred, Tyler, and then all the DFS guys. Well, not all, some put their plays on the spreadsheet too. Best value DFS betting wise in the industry. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love going to the Run Pure Bets, looking at the daily picks and tailing you guys because you guys are college basketball, JJ. Like there's games that there's no clue I'd ever watch or know why I'd be betting either of these teams. And that's where you find the value. It's not just betting the biggest games every single week. Got to find the value. You guys absolutely crush it over there. Make sure you set Bets25 on the Run Pure Bet side. Check out the Keg live show. Absolutely Prince. NASCAR coming up to Daytona, I believe next week it is. Yep. So, you and Coop have been absolutely printing NASCAR last year. And can't wait. It should be a fun one. Daytona, I don't watch a lot of NASCAR, but Daytona, when it gets toward the end, I'll turn it on and have some fun with it. But SB56 is the promo code for Run Pure Sports. That's for Super Bowl 56, 56% off your first month. You can use it with the bet side. You can use it with SaberSim. And this deal is going to be ending Sunday or Monday. I think it is Monday, but who knows? AP said it might end Sunday as well. We haven't ran a better deal than this. If you're not a member, don't know what you're doing, make sure you get in the Discord too. But that's going to do it. Appreciate you guys all hanging out with us. DC, hopefully your internet gets fixed and you figure that out. Glad mine did hold up. It was a lot of fun, Keg. 14 fights tomorrow. Should be a ton of fun. Super Bowl on Sunday. Always appreciate you having on, dropping your knowledge. The people absolutely love it. Hit the like on your way out, please. Didn't mention anything about the likes. We appreciate you guys watching, though. Hope you guys have a great night. Have a good weekend. Let's make some money this week. But that's going to do it for Keg. Helmet behind the sticks. I'm Titletown. Good luck, everybody.